Thank you, Mr. Williams, and thanks to all who are tuning via all means to listen to this briefing. We want to review the actions taken by the National Emergency Operations Center and also all of our stakeholders in response to the passage of the potential tropical cyclone number 9. We would have heard from the Deputy National Disaster Coordinator and also from Mr. Elmo Burke, and we can certainly say that we, for now, are in the clear of this potential tropical cyclone. However, we encourage the general public to remain vigilant as the outer feeder bands can still provide some showers in the upcoming hours. I want to basically highlight for you some of the agencies that have functioned during this activation, in particular the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force, the Defense Force, St. Kitts Nevis Defense Force, the Fire and Rescue Services, the National Emergency Management Agency, and the Nevis Disaster Management Department. You would have also heard of from the National Emergency Operations Center Director, and also from the chair of the Health Emergency Operations Center, in that of Dr. Laws. The prison facilities, those who would have turned out to work today, all hospital and healthcare and medical facility staff, and also the media personnel, in particular to that of ZIZ, and all other media houses who have been participating with the 3 updates or briefings that we would have had today. Critically important, I must acknowledge the public utilities, telecoms, and all other departments and public servants who would have assisted in whatever way today. This Herculean effort by all shows the all-of-society approach that we have adopted in fighting COVID-19 and also in safeguarding the nation from the threats of any potential tropical cyclones. I really want to acknowledge also some other agencies, companies that would have partnered with us today. The ham operators, the Red Cross Society, who provided the overwhelming support, and the cooperation as we saw the passage of this potential tropical storm on the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. So on behalf of the NEOC executive, we are thankful for their support, which captivated and motivated us to know that you are part of this whole of society approach. And we thank the persons from the general public for coming forward and expressing your interest to join NEMA volunteers. I think that is something that is commendable and rather motivating. So we thank you for those efforts. And at this moment, I also want to acknowledge the Permanent Secretary within the Ministry of Health, Ms. Dolores Stapleton Harris, who has been with us since morning. And these are the kind of support that we need from our senior public servants who have to make critical decisions when it comes to the country during these times. However, like everything else, we are seeing some challenges from some business places, and all we are asking for the business places to continue to comply rather than disregard the protocols that are implemented to ensure that we have a high level of safety and security for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Today, we would have seen a number of businesses who would have opened, in particular bars, and people were enjoying themselves, getting drunk, rather than complying with the regulations, because we are still under a state of emergency. That's the reality. The emergency powers were not discarded because of the passage of this potential tropical system. They remain in place. We said it from morning, we said it at the afternoon, and we are saying it now in the evening, and they were re-emphasized by Superintendent Henry. I'm asking all business places to continue to comply with these regulations. Again, the regulation states if you fail to comply with the regulation, you will not be able to operate. And we have been saying this from day one. I also want to urge you to consider your position and join us as we continue the fight with the pandemic during the hurricane season. It's very critical. We welcome your contributions. We also welcome them in any form, whether human resource, whether financial or otherwise. We have a lot of work to do. We are in the peak of the hurricane season. This is not time for us to segregate or time for us to have divisive dialogue. This is time for solutions, implementation of solutions, and moving the Federation forward. Now, many persons in the business community have reached out to me about the activation and the instructions by the Honorable Prime Minister about the stay-at-home order. Let me state that I, Abdias Samuel, as the National Disaster Coordinator, endorsed and supported the actions of the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, in calling a stay-at-home order. This was not just done out of order. We consulted with a number of stakeholders. We consulted with regional partners, our 2 mitigation council ministers, would have had dialogue with cross-sector of our society, and we came to a conclusion that the best action to protect our citizens was to give a stay-at-home order. And I think our citizens responded very well, and I commend the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis for this response, as we may face further tropical storm threats going forward. Technology, like everything else, we see the computer has given up on me. I don't know, maybe the computer has worked very hard. So again, I want to appeal to the general public to remain vigilant as we are still in the peak of the hurricane season. We ask you to remain in a high state of preparedness and continue to monitor your local weather forecast from the Met Office, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMO, and the Nevis Disaster Management Agency and local radio stations. I must highlight the cooperation and assistance given to us today by the ZIZ. The crew worked very hard today to support our activities. I also want to acknowledge the general managers for the cable and for Flow and Digicel, who use their platforms to send out information on our behalf. This is the first time I am actually had that opportunity to use their platform, and I think it was extremely helpful. So I want to thank Mr. David Lake, Ms. Diane Mtaj, and also I cannot leave out the cable CEO, Pat Walters, who was very instrumental in bringing those activities together on behalf of the NEOC to ensure that information was disseminated to the general public. So to you, Ms. Pat Walters, thank you so much, and we appreciate the partnership with the cable and all the other telecommunications agencies. With that said, I want to thank everybody who responded today, and we look forward to your questions going forward. Thank you, Mr. Williams.